Today we are going to be looking at the question from one of our subscribers. They wanted to know, okay, how did you pull this off? How did you get your ExxonMobil scholarship in 2019? No, 2009/2010. And this was as a bachelor student of zoology. Okay, how did that happen? Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you. I'll just give a brief history. I'm going to throw back. I'm going to give some context. So way back in the year 2009, I was a second year student of the Department of Zoology in Biological Sciences in Nigeria. And back then, so as an undergraduate student, you're busy maybe looking for scholarships to help make things easier for you, depending on how deep the pocket that sent you to school, depending on how deep the pocket is. So what were we doing? We were looking for scholarships to help to take care of tuition, upkeep, So back then in my second year, there were so many scholarships, either maybe MTN scholarship or some from oil companies, from the government, PTDF, ExxonMobil. So, but one thing I noticed then was that, especially from the oil companies, my department was usually not included, okay, in those scholarship adverts. And that's okay. They knew the departments that they wanted to fund. The students from those departments were the ones eligible for funding. So when I saw the advert way back in 2009, those adverts, it was not on social media per se. The internet was there, but that was not really our default means of comms. Okay, so it was in a newspaper advert, and then a friend brought it to me. Oh, there's this scholarship currently going on. It's from ExxonMobil. And then I look at the criteria. It's listing the departments wanted. It's listing pharmacy. It's listing medicine, engineering, geology, and then there is no zoology there. And I'm like, okay, maybe this is not for me. But then I read further down, and then I saw and any other person who thinks they are eligible. I'm like, okay, that's an invitation for me, right? I can apply if I think I'm eligible. It's in my head, I'm eligible. So the criteria were like, I think you have to have five A's, not necessarily A1s in your West African senior certificate exam, which is WAEC, and then you must be a student of an eligible institute in Nigeria. You must be in those departments. But at least they said, even if you don't qualify department wise, I think they were like, if you feel you're eligible based on your WAEC scores and all that, you can go ahead and apply. So I'm like, okay, this is an invitation for me. Why not? What do I stand to lose? So I went ahead. I submitted my application. Can I remember, was it online we filled that form, or was it by post? This is the part I don't remember very well, whether we submitted it by post or online. I know there was internet. I know I used to go to the cyber cafe back then, but I'm not sure how we submitted that. Okay, let's skip the means of submission. My memories are not recollecting perfectly. So submitted and applied, and then I think I'm beginning to think it was online, because people who were successful were sent an email. Yeah, so it would be an online application. And this was when the school, then there was NUGA games, and then there was a very protracted ASU strike. So we vacated the hostels then. And so when the shortlisted candidates, when the names were out, luckily for me, one of my friends who was in geology then, she sent me a text. Oh, the shortlist has come out. It's in the newspaper. I'm not sure if it's Vanguard or Sun or Punch, but one of those newspapers, the shortlisting was out. So I went, checked, my name was not there. That's fine. So, but then again, at the end of the shortlisting, now I think I have this habit of reading to the end of something, whether or not I even qualify or not. Just read the whole information, okay? Read. By now you can tell that I love reading. I love learning, which is what this platform is all about. So I read to the end of the shortlisting in the newspaper, and then I saw another invitation, or even if you are not shortlisted and you feel you qualify, come along for the exams. I'm like, okay, this is the second time you guys are telling me come along, even if you don't qualify. So the venue of that exam was just behind my house in Owerri. It was in New Owerri. I think it was, yeah, Concord Hotel. So I was like, okay, this is, and we were on NUGA / ASU. It was a very protracted holiday. So we were at home. And then, yeah, I think I was at home. Yeah, I was at home. But when we were told to vacate, I did not go with my certificate. So my WAEC results and every other thing like birth certificates, they were still in the hostel in my wardrobe. I'm like, oh dear, what do I do now? So I don't even know why my friend, this same person who showed me the newspaper advert for the scholarship, the same person who told me, oh, the shortlisting is out. So this same person was in school, and I'm like, oh, babe, please, oh, my certificates are in my wardrobe. I was not shortlisted. That's fine. But they said if you feel you're eligible, still come. So since it's just behind my house here, I will basically walk or just take KK or bike to it. Can you just help me grab my certificate? But I'm with the key to the door. So somehow she was able to get access into the room and then opened up the wardrobe. Thankfully, my certificate was still there. It was not stolen. And then she brought it to me on a day before the exam, So I had it. I got my birth certificate, my WAEC, my all the things like JAMB, admission, like proof that you're a student. It was in that folder. So I got it. The next morning, I dressed up and I went for the exam. So those who were shortlisted, they were first verified, okay? So you would see those in medicine, those in pharmacy, those in engineering, geology. It was even a long verification for them. They stood there for like, oh my goodness, they were on the queue for more than at least 4 hours for all of them to be verified. And one thing happened is that they were going in batches. So they were going in batches. So let's say the first 2 hours or the first 3 hours, they would write. And then because the hall was not big enough to accommodate everyone who came to write at the same time. Wow. So they were going in batches, and yeah. And then we kept, those of us who were not shortlisted, we kept standing outside there. We were just there standing. So when they had got to the last one of the shortlisted people, it was now our turn, okay? Those who were not shortlisted. So we started our own queue, and as at this time I'm talking to you, it was already 3 p.m. This is something we came for around 9 a.m., 8 a.m. So around 3 p.m., they now start with those who were not shortlisted. I think by the time it got to my turn, it was now 4 p.m. at the queue. They look at my certificates. Oh, I had 7 A1s in my WAEC, 1 B2, 1 B3. So check. They look at my age. I was within the age. Then the last check was, what department are you in? Zoology, which was not in their list of qualified departments. They are given the scholarship, so they have the right to set the departments that they want to sponsor students from. You don't blame anybody for choosing who they want to give their money to. And then I'm like, oh, okay, yes, even though it's not in your required department, because agriculture was listed in that department. I'm like, but in zoology, we also learn fisheries, we also learn entomology, and all these spin out into agriculture, blah, blah, blah. So I just spent those 5 minutes just talking. And then the guys were like, you know what, let's let her in. She knows what she's doing. They're like, yeah, we can make a case that fishery and entomology and all branch into agriculture. Since we are letting agric students, since they are part of those who qualify, why not zoology? Of course. And then then they say go in. I was like, all I needed was just that chance of, you can go in and write this exam. Because this babe knew that once she held that pen to write the exam, I was going to give it my all, okay? I was confident to the point that all I needed to do was get access into the hall, and I was going to ace that exam. I did not even read or study, but when it comes to verbal, quantitative, like IQ test and all, I knew this was my strong point. Like I could wake up and just start writing GMAT, GRE without preparing. because my foundation in literacy, numeracy, they were very, very strong. They are still strong because these are like first principles, basic principles. Wherever you find yourself, you need to know how to read and write, and you need to know your numeracy, and which is math skills. So, and this was what they were testing us: quantitative reasoning, verbal reasoning, numeracy, abstract reasoning, geometry. That was the test. Okay. So I got in there, I sat down, and then I had 1 hour to write. Is it 1 hour or 30 minutes? But I just know I finished in time. I told them, oh, I'm done. I handed in my script. And then we were giving, I think, malt and so for refreshments. And then we were giving some money. I think it was 1,000 naira then. Just take as a transport for everyone who came. I was like, oh my God, this is so nice. So I told my parents, I went to my dad's shop, I remember. Then I was like, I've written the exam. Oh, let's see now, whenever it comes out. If I pass, so they should not say because I'm not in the departments that qualify. So I had forgotten about that. I even never wrote ExxonMobil. I think it was 6 months later. Yeah, I was in third year now. Boom, my head of department sent for me. Oh, someone told me, oh, so and so professor is calling you. I went and he was like, oh my God, what did you do? You just got a scholarship from ExxonMobil. No one has ever got this from this. In fact, we're not even eligible. So I told him my story. This is what I did though, since I was not doing anything. I said, let me go and try my luck. I went, I stood on the queue. So he was like, oh my God, that's so much perseverance. In fact, from that day, he made it a point of duty to always check my name on the results. Whenever like we take an exam in the department and the result is out, he'll first go, oh, where's her name? Yes, A, yes, A. So I got a father and a mentor even through that, okay? So yeah, that's the story of of my ExxonMobil journey. And the thing is that it wasn't just enough to get the scholarship, you had to maintain it. So every year, your head of department was supposed to send your CGPA for that year to the ExxonMobil headquarters, because even getting the scholarship was not enough. You had to show that you were sustaining a GPA of, was it a first class GPA? I'm not sure. Either a GPA of 4.5 or 3.5. I can't remember, but you had to show you were maintaining that GPA every year for you to be paid the next year for your scholarship. So my head of department, whenever it's time, I'll just go to him, prof, it's time, or he will compile my results, will send to the ExxonMobil address, and then they would pay me my stipends for the next year. In fact, up to the point that when I graduated, I did not realize that I was to be paid, like that I was to even send my final, like my transcript that I had graduated. I just felt it ended with me leaving school. So out of just a heart of thankfulness, a heart of, oh, I'm grateful for what you guys have done for me, for taking this burden off my dad, I just sent all my transcripts and thanking them for all they've done and all. And in the next 1 month, I got my final payment with my project, my thesis, like what I was supposed to use for my project. I'm like, oh, wow, this was just a letter of thanksgiving with I wasn't even expecting that I was still owed something. So I think I learned a lot from that experience in my life. One is persevere. Don't give up until it's not over, until it is over, right? Persevere, believe in yourself, always be ready. You don't know what life will throw at you. You don't know when some skills that you have will be required. So whenever you have the chance, read those books, be prepared. Don't push it to later. Just live a prepared life. Another thing I learned was keep pushing, keep fighting until the very end. Not fighting in terms of struggling, but as long as there is life, there is hope. Another thing I learned is thanksgiving, gratitude. If I had not sent that final letter to say, oh, just thank you, I wasn't qualified for this, but you gave me a chance. If I had not gone back to say thank you, I would not have received my final payment, and which I did not even know about. So I think this even draws us back to the Bible, where the 10 lepers were healed, and only one person came back to say thank you to Jesus. And Jesus said, now your healing is permanent. So there is always a place for thanksgiving, for gratitude in our lives. I don't know, we have few people online watching, but whenever you come back and you stream this, just know that don't count yourself out. If there's an opportunity somewhere, the highest thing that can happen is that you'll be told, oh no, you unsuccessful, right? I'm going to tell a story again later, maybe of how I got my New Zealand PhD scholarship. But the highest thing that you'll be told is unsuccessful. No one is going to beat you for for applying. No one is going to slap you. No one is going to shame you. You apply. The first chance you have to give yourself is to send in the application. Okay, that's the first chance. Don't look at it and count yourself out. Oh, I'm not qualified. That's the first chance you need to do. How many people have missed opportunities simply because maybe they felt they are not qualified or anything? So that's the first chance. Give yourself a chance. Put yourself in the fighting ring by applying first of all. Okay, so is there any question? The subscriber who asked us this question, please, do you want to ask any more question before we end the live stream? Any questions, any contribution, anything for people who are going to watch the video later? Yeah, there's a little bit of a lag and delay. Apologies, we started 10 minutes after time, but the first link I I used in scheduling this did not work. Okay, looking back now, what key lesson did this experience teach you about opportunities and self-limitation? Like I mentioned before, opportunities are everywhere. The question is, do you even know? I will even bring in my friend. I told you, one person told me about the scholarship. One person told me when the shortlist was out. One person still went into the place to get my certificate and brought it to me all the way from Enugu to Owerri when she was also writing her own exam. And if I may tell you, that person did not even get that scholarship that I got, despite the fact that she was shortlisted, despite the fact that she was the one who did all this for me. So there are lots of lessons here from my own end and from her own end. So sometimes, if you go back and read the Daughter of Encouragement series that I've done, you might be the one opening the doors for people. You might be the one uplifting people. You might be the one doing some things, but those people get that and you don't get it. How do you take that? How do you take it as a cue not to be kind anymore? No, my friend was still kind to me. She was still a good friend despite that. So my takeaway, there are so many lessons from here. From my friend's angle, do good, expecting nothing in return. Okay, she did good. She was there. She told me about the scholarship. She told me about so many things, expecting nothing in return, even when that thing did not even work out for her. I would also take this lesson back to myself. My future me now became my friend. When I was lecturing as a graduate assistant, I remember showing so many of my friends scholarships for masters and PhDs. They went on to leave the country before me. They went on to get those scholarships in UK, in wherever, whereas I was delayed for another 1 year. I did not get my New Zealand scholarship until 1 year after theirs. Mine now became a PhD scholarship. So I became this my friend in my future. I held the door open for people. I sent those informations. I sent them those pieces of information. I encouraged them to apply and they got it. And I was delayed for 1 year, 2 years. Okay. So there's a lot of humor to be learned in life, even if you don't get it. Okay. That you did not get it does not mean you should completely rule yourself out. If those miracles are in your neighborhood, it means that one day is going to be your turn. So what lessons did I learn? One of the lessons now that I've learned in hindsight is that my friend who came through for me but did not get it, I became that friend in the future. Okay, I became that person in the future who was who helped someone but did not get that promise that we were all looking forward to. So for students watching who feel disqualified because of their department, background, or circumstances, what practical advice would you give them? So the practical advice I would give them is, as long as maybe if they say whether you feel qualified or not, just apply. There is nothing you stand to lose by sending in your application. No one is going to look at it and laugh at you. Oh, who is this person applying? No. One thing I've learned from reading books is that nobody even thinks about me so much the way I think about myself. People are about their busy lives. They're not thinking about that guy who applied or that girl who applied and she was not qualified. No, the moment they look at it, they decide whether to shortlist you or not. They go about their lives. They have a lot to think about in their lives than to laugh at you or think about someone who applied. So go ahead, even for jobs, for opportunities, for grants, apply. Okay. As long as you meet some necessary requirements that can get your foot, you can tick some boxes. Okay. I think statistics show that so a particular gender, once they tick just 30 to 40% of the eligibility box, they just go ahead and apply. But the other gender, when they tick, they have to be 70 or 80% qualified before they give themselves a chance. Oh my goodness, please apply. You tick some boxes, apply. You can never tell whether for anything in life. Okay, don't feel disqualified because you do not meet some particular criteria. That's my takeaway. Yeah, be that friend who tells people about opportunities, whether or not you get it. What is yours is yours. Okay, someone else being in the pool does not take away your blessings. Are your blessings. When it's time for yours, it's going to manifest. Someone else lighting other people's candles reasonably and with wisdom should not put off your candle. Please, if it's putting off your candles, run away. Okay. So yeah, that's my ExxonMobil scholarship story. Again, apologies for starting late. Whenever you watch this, I hope you draw some lessons from it, lessons of gratitude, lessons of encouragement, lessons of friendships, relationships, strategic and important relationships. Okay. One lesson I learned is that many opportunities are missed, not because we are unqualified, but because we disqualify ourselves too early. That's right. That's right. That's right. Thank you for dropping that comment. Thank you for dropping that comment. We are the ones who even disqualify ourselves, okay? Even if you feel you're not qualified, like I said, what's the worst thing that can happen? Those people don't know you. They're not going to, whenever I've been opportune to either recruit PhD students to supervise or master students or undergraduate students when I used to be in research and academia, I don't remember the faces that applied and did not get it. No, I move on, shortlist those that I feel are qualified, and I don't remember the other faces or the names that were not qualified. That's how people miss opportunities, because you're maybe shy, you're scared. Oh, they're going to laugh at me. No one, like I said, no one thinks about you more than you think about yourself. You are mostly important to yourself. As in other people's worlds, they are important to themselves. I think this reality is very, very eye-opening. I came across this in the 48 laws of power. I came across this in the laws of human nature. So many books will open your eyes, decompress your ego. You're only important to yourself, first of all, and then your family. People have their lives. They themselves occupy their own lives, okay, and their own thoughts. So yeah, these are the lessons that I drew from my scholarship, how I got my ExxonMobil scholarship, even as an undergraduate student of zoology. Some other time, I'm going to tell the story of how I got my PhD scholarship in New Zealand in 2015. That's 10 years ago. Wow. Okay. In the absence of any other questions or contributions, I think we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for joining. And whenever you watch this, feel free to drop your own comments, your own contributions to this story. See you in my next video or in my next live. We have an audiobook summary dropping tomorrow. It's titled Atomic Habits. I summarized the book. And then on the 2nd of January, we have an audiobook summary for the 48 Laws of Power dropping. And then on the 3rd of January, I hope to go live. So far, I'm working with the fact that I'll be summarizing the 10 books I have read in December 2025. Okay, so see you in my next video. Bye. Sorry for the delay.